Hey everyone, it's me BaNAuset with another video from kemeticwellness.com, and today I'm going to be talking specifically about how to grow a tumor, specifically uterine tumors. And what I'm going to be talking about today focuses on many different uterine growths. It doesn't matter what the medical term, the medical diagnosis is, whether it is cancer, fibroids, endometriosis, PCOS, cysts, dysmenorrhea, painful periods, heavy bleeding. It doesn't matter what the diagnosis is. The information in this video is going to be helpful to you. So if you are a woman who is experiencing any of these issues, or you know a woman who is experiencing some of these issues, please keep watching. It's going to be very helpful to you. And if you are new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the like button and let me know how you felt about this video in the comments. Also, you can ring the notification bell so that you know when I'm going to be uploading another video. You're going to be the first to be notified. Okay, so let's get right into it. How to grow a tumor. So most of you are going to be wondering, what does this title mean? Like, why would I want to know how to grow a tumor? Most people are trying to get rid of tumors if they have them. But it's really important to know how these things develop in the body, not just the physical things that we're doing in terms of our food, but also the mental, emotional, and spiritual things that contribute to the growth of tumors and other issues with the uterus. So let's get into it. Okay, so before we get into how do you grow a tumor, what exactly is a tumor? So fibroids and other tumors that grow in the uterus is basically a buildup of toxic waste. It's toxic waste mixed with tissue, mucus, and other things that build up and grow and feed on the blood vessels that are already there. These growths do not just occur out of nowhere. They occur based on things that we are doing on a regular basis that are contributing to them. Fibroids are a buildup of waste tissue, blood vessels, and toxins in the tissues of the womb. There are 5 different types of fibroids. Some of them are easier to get rid of than others. So we're going to go over the 5 types first. The first is the intracavitary fibroids, and they're located in the internal hollow cavity of the womb. Then you have intramural fibroids, and these are found in the wall of the uterus, and they're the most common type of fibroids. The next one is the subserosal fibroids, and these are often found growing outside the wall of the uterus, and they can become very large. They can also grow on stalks, and these are called pedunculated fibroids. Then you also have submucosal fibroids, and these are found in the muscle beneath the inner lining of the uterine wall. Cervical fibroids are also found in the wall of the cervix. The 3 types that are the easiest to get rid of and respond very well to herbal and food therapy are the intracavitary, the intramural, and the submucosal fibroids. The other 2 are more difficult to get rid of, but they are definitely, it's definitely doable. And I definitely recommend, when you're trying to deal with these issues, to deal with the diet first. Deal with the diet, deal with the herbs, deal with exercise and natural remedies first. Medication and surgery should be a last resort. It is really important to learn how to take care of yourself first before you resort to anything that's going to possibly cause you to lose your uterus. There are serious side effects with the medications that you may be offered, and there are serious side effects to surgery. And I really want to stress this because a lot of people think that just going to get surgery, this is going to take care of your problem. If you continue to do the things that are contributing to these issues, they can grow back. they can definitely grow back, and they do grow back oftentimes. Many women who go in and get fibroids removed, they end up having to go through surgery again. You're gonna have to learn how to take care of yourself and stop contributing to your problem. Another thing I want to mention is something that we don't really talk about a lot in our community, which is hysterectomies, because oftentimes women think that they're going in to have one particular surgery and they can end up losing their uterus altogether. This does happen, and if you think that it cannot happen to you, I would recommend that you read a book called Medical Apartheid, and it talks about the ways in which the medical community has put black women, black people at a disadvantage. And there are even laws, that have not been overturned in this country, that you can remove a woman's womb, especially women who you deem to be undesirable or unfit for society. You can remove it, um, and there's no consequence for that. It's a law. So I encourage you to do your own research, to take care of yourself before you head and rush right into surgery. Learn how to care for yourself. Endometriosis is another common reproductive system imbalance. With endometriosis, the mucous membrane, which is known as the endometrium, which normally lies on the interior of the uterus, begins to grow outside the uterus. And this happens to some women during their childbirth years. It's usually not dangerous, but it tends to be very painful, and it can cause other problems. It can cause clumps of tissue to grow outside the uterus. These are called implants, as well as adhesions that grow on the ovaries and the fallopian tubes, the outer wall of the uterus, the intestines, and other organs in the belly as well. So these can cause many, many different problems for women. So let's get into the different ways that you actually grow and feed tumors and other womb disease. The first way is malnourishment. And how do we get to become malnourished? A lot of us never think of the term malnourishment unless you're thinking about someone who is starving, maybe from another country. But most of us in the United States are actually experiencing some form of malnourishment, simply because most of the foods that we are eating are denatured and devitalized and completely devoid of the nutrients that are in them in their natural form. When I say denatured foods, what am I talking about? I'm talking about foods with white flour, white sugar, white rice. See a theme here. Anything that is processed, foods that are taken out of their natural form and broken down so much that they're not even recognizable or close to what they were in their natural form. Microwave foods, instant foods, artificial, GMO, fried foods, fast foods, all of these things serve to contribute to malnourishment in the body. I mean foods that have been taken out of their natural form, that have been broken down so much to the point that there's nothing in it that is really recognizable to the body or beneficial to the body in terms of minerals, nutrients, macronutrients that are going to feed and nourish your cells, your muscles, your tissues, your organs. Okay? Also, dairy. Dairy is a very mucus forming food. A lot of us are being taught that dairy is a health food, and it is not. Dairy is a very acidic food, it's mucus forming, and that has really negative effects on the womb. These tumors are not growing out of nowhere. These adhesions, they're not growing out of nowhere. They're growing based on the internal environment that they are in. They're growing based on the things that are already within your body. And how are they getting into your body? By how you're feeding yourself. All of these things contribute to malnourishment because your body is using its own energy to process the food and then getting nothing back. So these are one of the ways that you contribute to fibroids, to uterine growth, just by being malnourished. The other way is animal flesh. We know that just like we have our hormones, animals have their own hormones, and many of them, especially in this country, in the way that meat is raised and handled, much of commercial meat has been grown in a way, the animals have been grown in a way that is very toxic and very unhealthy. Many are injected with hormones, with antibiotics, and you're consuming these things. You're consuming these hormones. So when you wonder why your own hormones are becoming out of balance, think about the things that you are eating that are also contributing to that. If you are eating meat, you need to be very aware of where you are getting your meat from. You want to make sure that if you're eating chicken or beef or any other type of meat, that you're getting it antibiotic free, organic, hormone free, cruelty free, that is raised in a way that it's not going to um, contribute to the stress that's in your body, because you're taking on the stress that the animal has experienced in its lifetime as well. When it comes to meats, I want to stress cured meats. Cured meats are bacon, hot dogs, foods that have been salted or cured with nitrates in order to preserve them. These are some of the worst foods to eat, period. And they definitely contribute to the growth of fibroids, tumors, and womb disease. A lack of water. Water is the most important element in your body, because it's about 70 to 80% of your body. Your cells need water, your muscles need water, your organs need water in order to function and in order to flush out toxins. If you're not getting enough water in your body, it becomes more difficult to flush toxins and waste out of the body. So lack of water. And how much water should you be getting? You need at least half your weight in ounces in water. For example, if you weigh about 140 pounds, you need to be getting 70 ounces of water. That's between 8 and 9 cups. That's about 8.75 cups of water. So that's just an example. Also, lack of fruits and vegetables. These are the things that are going to nourish the body. This is where you're going to get your food, your nutrients, your macronutrients from, your protein, your carbohydrates, your fats. These should be coming from your fruits and your vegetables. If you don't have enough of this in your diet, you're going to experience some form of dis-ease. And especially for women, since this is what we're focused on today, womb disease. Your body cannot operate in wellness if it doesn't have the fuel to do so. This is like you trying to run a car without gas. And you go into the mechanic, you know you ain't put no gas in your car. You go into the mechanic and ask her, well, what's wrong with my car? What's wrong with this? If you haven't fed your body the fuel that it needs in order to be healthy, you're going to experience some form of womb disease. So all of these things contribute. You also need to have your nuts, your whole grains. You know, you can't get everything from eating just basic chicken and rice or pasta. You cannot get all of your nutrients from there. And this is why it's so important for us to be eating a plant-based diet, which doesn't necessarily mean that you are vegan. It means that you are incorporating natural whole foods into your diet, and that is the basis. That's your base. Your base is not your meat that you're having. That, if you're eating it, should be a small portion of your diet. Your protein needs to be between 10 and 35% of your diet max, and that depends on every individual what your needs are. Somebody who is an athlete is going to have different needs than someone who lives a very sedentary life. So the foods that you're getting, the nutrients you're getting need to reflect your lifestyle. The next way to grow and feed tumors and other womb wellness issues is stress, emotional stress. Stress is usually a buildup of things that's happening in your life. It can happen from different traumatic events. It can also be your home environment. It can be your neighborhood, your environment that you live in. If you grew up in the hood, like a lot of us did, like I did, that's a very stressful environment to grow up in. And the feelings that you feel on a regular basis, the thoughts that you think on a regular basis, your body is listening to you, whether you know it or not. I learned from Dr. Jewel Pookrum, who is a world-renowned neuroscientist, that every thought you think creates a biochemical reaction in the body. And you have to just know this actually logically. In order for your hand to move, in order for my hand to move right now as it's moving, or for me to move any part of my body, I first have to think that. I first have to think of what I want to do. And we do this often enough that it is natural, that it flows very freely. You don't realize that a thought preceded the action that you took, but it did. Every thought that you think, there's now a biochemical reaction that allows the physical action to happen. And so when you're constantly experiencing feelings of stress, anger, resentment, fear, anxiety, doubt, all of these things build up in the body, especially if you don't know how to release them. And many of us don't know how to release these things, especially if you've never been to any type of counseling, therapy. Where do you think that energy goes? You hold it. You hold it in the body. And this is what tumors feed on. A lot of us do not think that unless you can see something physically in your hand, that the energy of it is not still there. It is. It absolutely is. So if you are in an environment that is very stressful to you, you're putting your body at serious risk for developing tumors and other disease. The next major contributing factor to growing uterine tumors and womb disease is womb trauma. And when I say womb trauma, I'm speaking on molestation, rape, sexual abuse, abortions, things like that. When these things happen and they are not addressed, especially, you've never received counseling, you've never talked to anybody about it, your body still knows that this happened to you. Your body knows what you experience. And so you can hold the energy of these very traumatic events in your womb space. The womb space is just like the universe. Out of the universe, many things are created, many things come forth. It is dark matter, is a space of darkness, and this is where things are cultivated. Things are cultivated in the dark. And while these things remain, the energy of them remain in your uterus, this feeds tumors. You have to understand when wherever energy is, people can feel it. You can feel it. Your body is responding to it, whether it is good or bad. If you walk into a space where there has been certain things that are occurring that are very high vibrational, for example, music, you have crystals, you have plants, you have chanting, you have laughter, you have healing, you have happiness, that space is going to be a very, very different energy than a space that you walk into where there were arguments, where there was anger, where there was poverty, where there was stress, where there was worry. They would have a very different energy. And your body is the same way. Your body holds energy in your womb space, which is your space of creation, literally where you bring life into the world. If you have had experiences that would negatively affect that womb space and you have not found a way to release it, you're definitely creating an internal environment that may lead to growth and contribute to growth in the uterus. The next contributor is relationships, specifically toxic relationships. If you're a woman who's been in a relationship or several relationships where you've been left feeling unfulfilled, unworthy, perhaps you were cheated on, perhaps you were emotionally, verbally, or even physically abused, that energy stays within your womb space unless you have done significant work to clear that energy. As a woman, you have the organs of a receiver. You have receiving organs, which means that a sexual energy exchange, which is what sex is, it's an energy exchange. You are taking on some of the qualities of the person that you are in that exchange with, and they are also taking on your qualities. But as a woman, because you have the receiving organ, you are more susceptible to the emotions, the mental state, the physical state of your partner. The other way that your partner can contribute is just by their own health and hygiene. If this is a man who is eating a very, very poor diet and you are receiving his fluids, this can throw off your own pH. Now, the vagina has a very specific pH. It is usually between 3.5 to 4.5 on the pH scale, which is a very acidic, number on the scale. For men, the pH of the sperm is between 7 and 8. So it's more on the neutral to alkaline side. Just receiving the semen of the man can throw off your pH. But specifically when that man is not a healthy person mentally, physically, spiritually, you are receiving the energy of the person that you are laying down with. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise, because I've been in a position in physicians' offices where they will tell you that, no, this is not affecting this issue, this has nothing to do with that, and come to find out that's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. So pay attention to who you are letting into your sacred space. A lot of y'all out here worried about chlamydia and HIV, and y'all need to be worried about the real STIs, okay? You need to be worried about the real STDs, spiritually transmitted diseases, okay? Those are the STDs you really need to be worried about. You don't know what kind of demons this person is suffering with. Be careful who you let into your womb space. Everybody is not good for you. And you can see how a person is dealing with their own life, the things that they're experiencing in their own life, the way this person treats themselves, to discern whether or not you even want to deal with a man like this. Relationships can take you to hell if you're in the wrong one. So do not underestimate how your relationships are affecting your womb health, because they absolutely do. And I'm not talking about what I read, I'm talking about what I know from my own personal experience. Matter of fact, I'm not even talking to you, I'm talking to the old me. How about that? I'm not even talking to you, I'm talking to the old me who did know better. Okay? Everything that manifests physically has its origin in the spiritual realm. It has its origin in energy. So when you have something that physically develops in your body that is dangerous to you or unhealthy for you, you have to think about the energy that helped to cultivate it. And all of the things that I talk about create that energy. Relationships, stress, all tie into the next reason, which is a negative view of womanhood. This is something that I did not consider until a few years ago. Um, how many of us, whether consciously or subconsciously, view what it is to be a woman. And this happens based on the way that we saw our mothers being treated, either by our fathers or by other people in society. Also, what society tells you about being a woman, that you're less than, that you have to answer to a man, or that you're unprotected. If you saw your mother be cheated on, if you saw your mother abused, if you saw your mother struggle very hard financially, um, all of these things contribute to your view of womanhood, as well as religion. A lot of us don't think about what women go through on a subconscious level when your religion, your um, sense of spirituality, of relating to the divine, tells you that, number one, you were born in sin, that women were the ones who created this sin upon the entire world, and that we are evil, that we are second to man, that we came from the rib of a man, which, when you look in nature and when you look in reality, you see that all life comes through the feminine principle. However, you're being taught that you actually came from the rib of a man. Everything that we receive, the information that we receive, serves to discount us as women, and you have to think about how that affects you psychologically, how that affects you mentally, in your view as a woman and what it is to be a woman. Maybe you don't even want to be a woman. Maybe part of you thinks being a woman is too difficult or too painful. And I can tell you, in my own experience, I saw my mother struggle very, very hard to take care of us because she did not have a lot of help from anyone, including my father. She didn't have a whole lot of help. And that really made me think. And I didn't realize it at the time until I got older and I started to come across, this information, and I started to wonder about the reasons behind my own womb wellness issues. Was the way I viewed my mom and her struggles and her life, and the fact that I didn't want to experience those things. If you're consistently seeing women being devalued, women being treated poorly, women being abused, having their hearts broken, a part of you is going to conclude that it's not beneficial to be a woman. It's not beneficial, and this can lead you to all different types of issues with your femininity, because you're at war with who you are as a woman, whether you know it or not. And this is why I'm bringing this information to the surface, because I'm hoping that somebody who is experiencing this, it triggers something. It triggers you to look a little bit deeper into what you are actually experiencing. Because a lot of times people will come to me and say things like, well, I know somebody who was vegetarian or who was vegan and they still had cancer and they still had this. It's important to understand that it's not just about food. It's not just about food. It's not just about that. Wellness is holistic. You are a whole person. You are a whole being, and you're not just your physical body. Your feelings, your emotions, your mental state, and your spiritual strength, your spiritual state, all contribute to your state of wellness. And so whenever you're experiencing any dis-ease, it's important to look at all the different factors that may be contributing to it. The last thing that I want to mention is hygiene. This should go without saying, but I have to understand that a lot of women may not have grown up with a mother, may not have grown up with anybody to really guide them or teach them how to actually care for their bodies. And so there's a lot of ignorance about how to do that. And, the companies that make the commercial products, the ones that we see most often, many of them are just really in it for their money. This is a capitalist corporate society, and these corporations are looking to make money, and they don't necessarily have your best interest at heart. And so you have to know the information so that you can shop for yourself. In terms of hygiene, many of the products that we're using on our bodies contribute negatively to our uterine health and do contribute to the growth of tumors in the body. The first one is antiperspirant. This is one of the worst feminine hygiene products that are out there. Number one, it contains aluminum. First of all, we have to talk about where you're actually applying the antiperspirant to. All along here, under your arms, there are lymph nodes. The lymph nodes are a part of the lymphatic system. For those of you who don't know, the lymphatic system is actually the largest circulatory system in the body. Most of the time when we think of circulation, we think about our heart and, our lungs, the circulation of oxygen within the body, but we don't think about the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is basically the drainage system or the sewage system of the body. It also contributes very much to our immune system because this is where the T cells are formed that help to protect us from foreign invaders, foreign bodies, okay? So all along here, you are blocking up your body from releasing through sweat, okay? You're blocking your body's ability to do that, and you're also absorbing through the skin into the lymph nodes, which goes all along here into the breast tissue. It goes all along here. You have lymph nodes in your thighs. So you are absorbing aluminum, which is a toxin. It's a neurotoxin as well. You're absorbing that into the body. It's one of the worst feminine hygiene products that you can use on your body, okay? Instead, what you need to be using is deodorant, not an antiperspirant, a natural deodorant. Anything that has aluminum in it, you need to get rid of it. It's not doing you any good. The other thing is relaxers for black women. We know that black women, since the use of relaxers in our community became a regular thing, we have skyrocketed in the numbers of black women who experience fibroid tumors. That's not a coincidence. There's only one other group of women who experience that rate of fibroid tumors in their community, and that would be Jewish women. What do we have in common? Curly or kinky hair. So we have to become more cognizant of the things that we are putting on our bodies. Your regular, everyday hygiene products that you're putting on your bodies are absorbing through the skin. The skin is the largest organ in the body, and it releases, it also absorbs. You know that because you have topical medications. There's no way that a topical medication would work if your skin was not able to absorb. Okay, so you are absorbing the chemicals that are in your lotions, for example, that are in your shampoos and your conditioners. You need to look at the ingredients, and if you don't know what they are, you need to look them up. Anything that has parabens in it or has toxic ingredients, you need to let it go out of your regimen. Douching is another thing. The pH of the vagina, as I already spoke about, is very important for the health of the vagina. And putting fragrances and other chemicals into the vagina to clean it out and make it smell good, number one, it doesn't work. It's counterproductive because the vagina is a self-cleaning organ. If you are drinking and eating the right foods, it's going to flush itself out. You do not have to insert anything into your vagina in order to clean it out. Speaking of inserting things, tampons are one of the worst feminine hygiene products that you can use and do contribute to uterine growths, tumors, and other womb wellness issues. The tampon is made from a cotton material. Whether it's organic or it's not, I don't care. Tampons, I don't recommend them. I don't recommend them for any reason. Because they're plugging up an area that is trying to release. Your body at that time is trying to release blood, tissue, cells, and you're plugging that area up. That's not only soaking up the blood, but it is also soaking up your natural lubrication. Also, many commercial tampons, in order to make the tampons look clean and white and pristine for you, they bleach these fibers, which creates a group of chemicals called dioxin. I talked about dioxins in one of my other videos, and according to the EPA, there is no safe level of exposure to dioxins. So if you are using tampons, organic or not, or if you are using commercial sanitary napkins, I recommend that you make a switch. Make a switch to a healthier version. Many of the products that we use on a regular basis contain hormone disruptors. These chemicals disrupt our hormones, and a lot of us are wondering, well, how did I get to have hormonal imbalances? Not only is it the food that you're eating, but a lot of times it's the products that you're putting on your body. These things have chemicals that are hormone disruptors, and they are causing your hormones to be out of whack to allow the internal environment for tumors, cysts, and adhesions to grow in your uterus. Okay, so this is very important. Do not count this out. The things that you're putting on your body and in your body make a difference in your health. Also, when it comes to hygiene, a woman must keep the vagina clean on a regular basis. It's very important that you wash, that you take baths, that you take showers once or twice a day. Once or twice every single day. Also, the way that you may be cleaning. Um, I don't know how old everyone is who's watching my videos, and sometimes we can get to an age that's considered past when you're supposed to know these things, and you still don't know them simply because nobody ever taught you. And so there's no shame in not knowing this information. There's no shame, you know. Um, just get the information however you can get it. When it comes to wiping yourself, first of all, you want to make sure that you have some wipes with you, some unscented baby wipes. You want to make sure that you have that. And the way that you're cleaning yourself after you go to the bathroom, you want to make sure that you're wiping from front to back. You never ever want to wipe from the back to the front, because you will be carrying fecal matter towards the vagina, that's a no-no. That's an absolute no-no. So make sure that you're always wiping from front to back, and that you're cleaning the vagina at least once or twice every single day. Okay? Also, your underwear is very important. The thong underwear, I know it looks cute, but leave that back at the store. Leave that at Victoria's Secret. That ain't doing nothing for you. Okay? You want to make sure that and the thong underwear, that goes along with what I said from wiping from back to front. Okay, that underwear that you have on is going like this all day. Back to front. It's going like this all day. Back to front. Taking the fecal matter from your behind all the way up into your vagina. You want to leave those thong underwear alone, honey. They're not good for the poom poom. They're not good for the nanny whatsoever. So leave those back at Victoria's Secret. You found them. The next thing is you want to make sure that you're wearing natural fibers on your very sacred area. You want underwear that is cotton, preferably unbleached cotton, white underwear. The dyes can also be absorbed through your vagina up into your uterus. Um, and some of the fabrics, such as nylon, spandex, they're not as breathable as cotton. And you know that your vagina definitely needs to breathe. It needs to breathe. All of these things can contribute to growths in the uterus over time when you are creating an environment that is unhygienic and not conducive to a healthy vagina and a healthy womb. Also, when it comes to washing, you want to make sure that you are not inserting soap into your vagina. Please don't do that to yourself. The soap that you're using should only be on the outside of your vagina, and you want to get something that is pH balanced. You want to get something that is natural, such as like a Castile soap, um, or natural soap. There are several different brands out there. I don't necessarily talk about anyone in particular, but I may go into depth on this in a video that's specifically just on feminine hygiene, just because I feel like we really, really need some more information on this as women. Your fragrances that you're wearing as women, I know that we like to smell good. We like to smell really good, and that's a great thing. But a lot of the fragrances that you're using, it has chemicals in it that disrupt the hormones. They disrupt the hormones in the body, and they can cause you to grow uterine tumors, uterine fibroids, and other womb disease. So it's very important to make sure that whatever you're using in terms of fragrances is not something that contains um, artificial fragrances, parabens, and hormone disruptors, chemicals that are hormone disruptors. Okay, so now that we know all the things that help to contribute to the growth of tumors and womb calamity, we want to know how to heal, right? I'm not going to leave y'all hanging. I'm definitely going to share with you the things that I know about how to heal the womb. Okay, the first thing is what I like to call high vibration nutrition. And high vibration nutrition basically means that you are eating foods that are of the highest vibration, that are natural in their natural state, and you are eating purposely. You're eating purposely to fuel your body, to nourish your body with the intent to keep yourself in wellness. That is very, very important. A lot of us are used to emotional eating or mindless eating. And when you eat consciously and intentionally to nourish and fuel your body, you're going to get totally different results. And you start to create the internal environment that allows your body to heal. Your body's number one intention is to keep you alive. It's to keep you alive, and it's to keep you well. All you have to do is get out of your own way and allow it to actually do that. The way you do that is to feed it the things that it needs in order to heal itself. You know, a lot of things disappear on their own once you give your body what it needs to do that. It's just like when you have a cold, you know, when you have a cold and you're sick and you pretty much don't eat any crap, you just feed your body with good soups, nutrients, hydration, and all of a sudden your body just starts to heal itself, just like that. What did you do? You didn't do anything major. You just got out of your own way. So high vibration nutrition is a something that I've talked about in several other videos. Go and look back in my playlist that I have about plant-based eating, or on nutrition, and you'll see some of the videos where I start to talk about those things. You need to have a diet that is mainly consisting of whole grains, nuts, plants, uh, vegetables, root vegetables, and fruit, and purified water. Water. As I said earlier, you need to make sure that you are getting at least half your weight in ounces in water in order to flush the body out. If you're drinking a lot of sodas or artificial drinks, you need to substitute that for natural juices. Natural, unpasteurized juices, meaning these are things that you make at home, either in a blender or in a juicer. You're juicing your vegetables and your fruit. This is going to give you a high concentration of nutrients. Also, make sure that you are utilizing herbs, herbal supplements in order to assist your body in getting the nutrients that you may not be getting on a regular basis. The herbs are really powerful in doing that. You also want to avoid emotional stress. If you are in an environment that is constantly stressing out, you need to get out of there. You need to get out of there. You can't stay in an environment that is stressing you out and think that you're going to heal from anything, because you will not. It is creating the internal environment that's not allowing you to heal. Okay? It doesn't matter what that is. It could be in a neighborhood. If you're in a bad neighborhood and you can't afford to leave, well, then you need to get a better job and figure out how, plan your stuff out, plan your finances out, so that you can plan to move the hell away from any neighborhood or any space that is bringing you toxicity and is bringing you stress. Okay? If you're living in a home with people who you don't like, who's stressing you out and pissing you off, you either need to figure out how to ignore them or how to deal with them, meaning you need to get better control over your own emotions so that you can handle the situation until you can get out of the situation, until you can leave. But you need to figure out a way out of it. If you're in a job that you really hate, figure out a way to get out of that job. Figure out a way to start working for yourself. Figure out a way to utilize your talents, your skills, your knowledge, your education, and whatever you're doing for your job, which very likely doesn't even appreciate you. Do it for yourself. Do that for yourself. Okay? Figure out your way out of these situations. Clean up your heart. If you have emotional stress from friendships, from relationships with family, it's time that you clean up your relationships so that you can clean up your heart. You may need to get rid of people in your life who you know do not mean you well, who you know are gossiping or backbiting or hurting you. You ain't tied to nobody. You didn't come into this world with anybody else but yourself. Even if you're a twin, that doesn't mean that you have to be with the person who is causing you stress on a regular basis. And when I say get away from people, it may not always be a permanent thing. Sometimes it's temporary, that you need to get away from people in order so that, number one, they can grow and realize some of the things that they've been doing that's causing hurt or harm to you. And also, you may need to do some growing so that you realize how you're contributing to the situation. Another thing is to practice forgiveness. This is a really difficult thing for some people, and I'm just going to speak on myself for right now, because I know that's been a very difficult thing for me in my life. I used to be the type of person that if you hurt me, or you do me wrong, I will hate you until the day I die. Okay? I will hate you until the day I die over things that you have done to me. I would not forgive you. And notice I said until the day I die, because even after you dead and gone, I will still hate you. Okay? That's how I was, but I had to learn how to forgive people who did things to me that really hurt me. And realize that when you're doing that, you're not doing it for the other person. This was something that was very hard for me to grasp at one point, is that when you're forgiving, you're not forgiving for the sake of the other person. You're not letting them off the hook. You're cleaning up your own heart, so you're not carrying that around. A lot of times people treat us bad, and they're not even thinking about that. They're not thinking about it. They never even give it a second thought. But you're carrying around the hate. You're carrying around the sadness or the anger, the resentment, and the blame of that other person. You're carrying it around, and it's affecting you, but that other person is living carefree and fine. So forgiveness is really about freeing yourself. Don't hold that energy in your system, in your body, because your body is listening to you. It's listening to you. Okay? And every thought you think, every emotion that you feel Your body knows what you are going through and it is responding. There are chemicals being created, there are biochemical reactions going on as a response to the emotions that you're feeling. So if you're in an environment of constant worry, stress, debt, financial problems, relationship problems, clean your life up. Clean your life up. For women, it is very, very important to be wary of the partners that you choose for yourself, the partners that you choose for yourself to engage in a sexual energy exchange with, because you are taking on the energy of the man that you are intimate with. If this is a person who hates women, for example, who is cheating on you, who is putting you down, who is verbally abusive or emotionally abusive, who neglects you, who makes you feel unworthy, who makes you feel unloved, who is even maybe physically abusing you, don't think that you're going to be able to cultivate a healthy womb with all of that going on in your body. You're going to have to let go of people who are not right for you. And you're going to have to start to learn how to pick good partners for yourself. And that begins with self-love. When you love yourself, there's certain things that you just will no longer tolerate in your life. When somebody comes to you bringing some mess, bringing some nonsense, bringing some you ain't good enough, or I'm going to have you and I'm still going to have this one over here even though I want you to just be with me, I'm going to put you down, I'm going to put my hands on you, I'm not going to be there for you, I want you there for me when I need you, but, deuces when you need me. That energy is going to manifest in one way or another. And this is one of the reasons that tumors do manifest, because even though we can feel the energy of things when they are not aligned well, when things are toxic, it is easy to ignore something that is not physically tangible. It's easy to ignore tension in a room. You can act like it's not there. And many times when the energy is sour, salty, wrong, toxic, and you ignore it, it will manifest into something physical, so that you have no choice but to pay attention and to deal with it. So that tumor started off as one bad relationship after another bad relationship after another bad relationship after another bad relationship. Where do you think all of that energy went, sis? Where do you think all that energy went? It's still there, festering and growing and feeding until you clean it up. And so self-love is one of the best ways to counter negative and toxic relationships, because when you don't love yourself and other people treat you badly, a lot of times you'll end up blaming yourself. You think that it's something that you did, or you deserved it, or this is normal. When you love yourself and you know how you deserve to be treated, and somebody treats you some type of way that is opposite of that or different from that, you're gonna recognize it, like, oh wait, hold up, what's this? This is not what I'm used to. I'm used to this, and you're coming at me with this. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. And you will quickly recognize it and dismiss people, situations, and things that devalue you. So self-love is the antidote to abuse. Self-love is the antidote to abuse. If you have experienced any type of trauma, whether that is parental abandonment or neglect or molestation, rape, sexual assault or abuse, abortion, miscarriage, if you've experienced any of these things and you have not done any work in terms of healing that experience within you. You gotta get there. You definitely have to um, value and love yourself enough to work through those issues. If you have not talked to a therapist, I encourage you to do that. If you have not talked to a spiritual advisor or counselor, I encourage you to do that. The only way to conquer those issues is to face them, to give voice to them, because a lot of times we hold on to things and we never talk about it with anybody. You have to give voice to the things that hurt you and speak them out, because sometimes they're in here and they're held. They're held in different parts of the body, very often in the womb if it is womb trauma. You hold it, and if you don't release it, it just grows. It grows and it festers, and it festers in your body. So you have to deal with the trauma. You gotta deal with it. You gotta go through the whole grieving process, the anger, the grief, the denial, all of those things. You have to go through them, and then you have to get to the other side, which is your healing. And that can be different things for different people. I'm going to continue in this womb wellness series and show some of the things that you can do for womb healing, but you're going to have to clean that energy up. One of the best ways to release emotional trauma is writing. That's one of the best ways. Journaling. You get your feelings out, no matter who you're angry at. Get it out. Say it. Put it on paper. Scream it. And let it go. Don't leave the paper around, and don't hold the paper for someone else to find it. Destroy it afterwards. Get it all out. Say all of the horrible, mean things that you want to say. Say how angry you are. Say how hurt you are. Say how much pain you are in, and get it out, and do it in a safe space. You need to make sure that you have people around you who can uplift you. You don't have to tell everybody what's going on with you. Sometimes you need to do the things that you are afraid of by yourself first, until you get comfortable enough to talk about it with somebody else. But you are going to have to give voice to the things that hurt you. You talk about it with your creator. Talk about it with yourself in the mirror. If you don't want to talk about it with anybody else, but release it. Don't hold it. Don't hold on to it. Join a support group if you don't want to go to therapy, or you don't have someone close to you who you can speak to, a pastor, a spiritual advisor, a priest. Go to support groups. They have them in your area. For example, here in New York, I'm going to shout out one of my support groups that one of my friends actually hosts, and it's called A Tribe Called Worthy, and it's a monthly support group for women who have experienced sexual trauma or womb trauma, and it meets once a month in Brooklyn, New York. You can find them on Instagram at A Tribe Called Worthy. Now I'll put it here, link it here, but there are others in your city, so I encourage you to do your research and find something, someone to support you through this trauma that you have experienced. The next thing that you want to do to contribute towards your healing is to change your view of womanhood. If you realize that you may have a view of womanhood that makes you feel or think that you're at a disadvantage by being a woman, you need to do some things to counteract that. The first thing I would encourage you to do is to get knowledge of yourself as a woman, to understand as a woman the power that you hold. One of the ways for me that I was able to do that was by going through a rites of passage, a cultural rites of passage, which many of you may know by Queen of Four, who's a world-renowned holistic healer. She has a rites of passage for African women called Sacred Women. And this was the first time that I was able to understand myself as an African woman, all that I am, what we do as women, our role as women, our true divinity, wisdom, intuition, and power that we hold as women. It completely changed my view of femininity, of divine femininity, and that is a healing that many of us need. I remember growing up when I was younger and seeing people of other cultures go through rites of passage, hearing about bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs and quinceañeras and all of that. And I wondered, where are our rites of passage programs for black women to understand how we're supposed to act, how are we supposed to interact not only with ourselves but with our male counterparts? How do we interact with each other in a healthy way? We have not we have lost those things through the system of racism and white supremacy. We have lost a lot of our cultural practices, and we don't understand who we are anymore. We don't understand who we are unless we are viewing ourselves through this patriarchal society, whether it is in the form of religion or how you're treated in your relationships, how you're treated at work. You're going to have to develop an understanding, an understanding of who you are as a woman, your role as a woman, the fact that you were born divine, the fact that you are next to God when it comes to children, because you are a creator. You bring forth life through your body. You give of your own physical body. Many women come close to dying, and some actually do, just to be able to bring life in the world. That is a very, very powerful state of being. That's a very, very powerful state of being. If you're in situations or around people that make you feel or think that you are at a disadvantage, that you are not empowered or disempowered as a woman, that you are less than, that you are less likely or less able to achieve, get out of those situations. Create a different reality for yourself that empowers you, that empowers you as a woman. If you're in a job that is paying you way less than it's paying some of your male counterparts, or you're not able to advance in the way that you see men advancing, get out of that situation. Do the things that cultivate your femininity. And there are many things that help you to cultivate your feminine power. One is listening to your intuition, knowing your intuition. Get in touch with the things that help you cultivate your feminine power. All things that are creative. Even if you don't have a child or you're not ready to create a child yet, you have to utilize your creative abilities. Activate that sacral chakra and begin to create what you want to see in this world. Whether that is putting your energy into a business, creating wealth for your family, creating a legacy for your family, all types of artwork, sewing, fashion, makeup, adornment, beauty, all of these things, cooking, nutrition, all of these things are feminine, creative things that help you to build your divine feminine power, and also will start to reshape the way you view being a woman. If you're in any situations that devalue you as a woman, get out of them. Get out of them. You don't have to stay there. Work on getting yourself into environments and around people that cultivate and nourish your spirit as a woman. The last thing is, you want to make sure that you are practicing excellent hygiene as a woman. And hygiene is not just about smelling good. If you don't put the right things into your body and you think you're just going to spray it all up and you're going to be perfectly fine, no, it doesn't work that way. And the things that you eat, they do come through your pores. A lot of women think they smell good because they got on a particular brand of antiperspirant or some expensive perfume, and the things that they're eating, woo child, all of that is coming through your pores, and you're not smelling as great as you think you are. So it does start from the inside, um, the foods that you're eating, the things that you're drinking to nourish the body and also to be able to flush out toxins, okay? The products that you use on your feminine areas. So let's go from the top down. The body wash that you use needs to be something natural. You need to get some natural soaps. Nubian Heritage is a great brand. Shea Moisture is another great brand that has natural body products. Um, you can just get you some natural, unscented Dr. Bronner's Castile soap if you have very sensitive skin. You need to be using products on your feminine area, especially that are pH balanced and are not going to be introducing more toxins into the body through the skin. Your lotions as well. Some of these same brands that I mentioned also have natural lotions and creams and things like that. You don't want to just be putting any name brand. And most of the commercial name brands that you can think of, I'm not going to name them because I don't want nobody calling them people on me. I'm not going to name them, but you know what they are. Look at the ingredients on the back. Most of the time, you're not going to recognize what any of them are, and most of them are parabens, or they contain parabens, um, or toxic chemicals that do affect the liver, the kidneys, and they are absorbed through the skin, they go through the bloodstream, they go through the body just like anything else, and these toxins do accumulate in the body and contribute to growth in the uterus and in other places. So it's very important to make sure that your skincare is natural. Make sure that you have natural skincare. Also, your detergents that you're using on your body. Make sure that you're getting a detergent that doesn't contain a whole lot of chemicals, because you are absorbing those things from your clothes into your skin and into your bloodstream, into your system. Okay? For those women who are still using hair relaxers, you know, I can't tell anybody what to do in terms of what's right for them, but I would encourage you to find alternatives. If you prefer to wear your hair straight, you can always wear your hair natural and wear wigs or things like that, or wear weaves. But I would encourage you as well to learn to love who you are naturally, so that you're not doing things that are going to be damaging your hair and your internal organs. Okay? The next thing is you want to make sure that you are not using any feminine hygiene products that contain harmful ingredients. That includes your pads and tampons. I don't have to mention the commercial popular names. All of them are pretty much not great for you. Um, and I would encourage you to do your own research on that, but I do have a video on this channel that talks about it, which is which I'll link down below. I would seriously encourage you to make the switch to natural sanitary napkins, or if you're not interested in using sanitary napkins, they also have various types of cups that you can use during your menstruation. But please leave the tampons and the commercial pads alone. I do have a video on my channel where I am reviewing the pads that I currently use, and these are the Cherish brand. If you want to check that video out, I will link it down below, because I also go into more depth on the chemicals and the problems with the commercial sanitary pads and tampons. So if you're interested, definitely check that out. So ladies, that's it for this video. I hope this information was helpful to you. If I left anything out, please leave me your questions in the comment section, and I promise to get back to you as soon as possible. If you have any requests for videos, any things that you want me to talk about, also leave that in the comment section below, and I will definitely consider it. If you found this video helpful, give me a like, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, ring the bell so that you know when I post another video. And if you feel like this video, this information is going to be helpful to anyone that you know, please definitely share it. Okay, so I will see you all in the next video, and peace.